Um, we're gonna have a really beautiful workshop now about yoga for scleroderma, and I have so many different people that are gonna talk today that I'm not gonna waste any time because I took away some of your guys' time. So I'm just gonna let everyone who will talk to say a little bit about themselves, and I'm giving the word to Kathy Randolph, one of our senior licensed practitioners and our yoga teacher for your part one in yoga for scleroderma to talk. So Kathy Randolph with you.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Randolph, and I am a senior practitioner and a program teacher for the 95-hour part one, and also the continuing education on scleroderma and arthritis. I started applying the Sonia Sumar method to the symptoms of scleroderma in 2002, and sometime later, I met Lori Pierce.
Hi, I'm Lori. I have scleroderma. I was diagnosed in 2002, 2003, and didn't start doing yoga until 2010. And it really changed my life and improved my health condition. So I became a yoga teacher. And then in 2017, I was introduced to Kathy online. And we had a phone conversation where I was buying plane tickets and planning to go to Reno to take the part one with her and the continuing education on scleroderma and arthritis so that I could then teach that to our population safely. And it's just kind of the rest is history from there. And I will pass it over to Cheryl now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cheryl Albright. I am the occupational therapist on Team Yoga for Scleroderma. I first met Kathy when I showed up in Reno for, I think it was the first advanced one is what it used to be called, but the first part of the 200-hour teacher training. She quickly realized I was a therapist, and the rest was history. So I just consult when needed, and I'm going to let everybody else take the wheel this morning. Pat, why don't you go next?
Hi, my name is Pat. I was diagnosed with scleroderma in 2013 at the age of 60. I actually heard about the yoga for scleroderma at one of the patient conferences, but unfortunately I never really followed through with it. I was actually going through a cancer rehab program, and my instructor was the one that said that she was going to be taking this class. So I decided to do the same thing, and one thing led to another. And because I really wanted to improve my quality of life and find out other options to help me as well. So kind of the rest is history, and I'm a part of the group as their photographer.
Good morning. My name is Alexis Harrison. I was diagnosed with scleroderma in, I think, 2015 after the birth of my daughter. And I met Kathy at my first scleroderma, excuse me, patient education conference. I had already been doing yoga to help with my symptoms, and went ahead and took yoga teacher training, and then met up with Kathy and took the basic, and then the continuing ed on yoga for scleroderma. And here I am. Now I have 2 kids, and I'm teaching yoga for scleroderma.
Talk about today. We're going to basically just talk about the things that we've discovered we can do to teach safely to our community in this time when we're really not getting together. So we're going to go over what we can teach someone that we've never met in person, because typically we like to meet our patients in person so that we can see how their body moves and how we can help them best. So we're going to discuss that. We're going to talk about some online classes, technology, methodology, that kind of stuff. Safe in-person options, Kathy's going to go over, and with an online backup in case you're unable to get together. And then we'll have a Q&A at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started. And I'm going to start, we're going to talk about some breathing techniques. Everyone uses them, I'm sure. For us, we've modified to fit our community best. So for us, when we do the full diaphragmatic breath, we no longer teach starting with an inhale. A lot of patients with scleroderma have a hard time taking a full deep breath, or they're on oxygen. So it can create panic and anxiety for them. So we've discovered that if we teach it from taking them the opposite way and teaching them to start with the exhale, let it all the way out, and then relax. And their body will naturally take the inhale, getting in the full breath that's capable or available to them. And it seems to work much easier and it's less stressful. So again, we just teach them to exhale, smooth and slow and relaxed, and then relax. And the body will go ahead and take care of the inhale on its own. And it's a great way to move into any of the practices that we teach with our guided meditations and such. So then we're going to pass it over to Alexis.
All right. So one of my favorite breathwork practices that I teach frequently is alternate nostril breath. And what we are going to do is use our hands to alternate closing off one nostril, breathing in and out, and then alternating to the other nostril. So I will demonstrate first, but this breath is really good for calming, balancing moods such as anxiety or depression, and also with helping your sleep or getting back to sleep, those types of things. Alternate nostril is super helpful for. So with scleroderma, a lot of times that involves hand involvement. So the traditional mudra that you would use is not always available or possible. So the way that I teach it is you will, on your exhale, close off your right nostril and then take a deep breath in and out. And once you've exhaled, switch your nostril, closing off the left. Breathe in and out. And continue to switch. Breathing in on the left and out. Switch. Breathe in and out. And I'm going to switch one more time. Breathing in and out. And you may feel like you need to blow your nose afterwards, which is fine. That's normal. And that's actually great, helping to keep your nasal passages clear. And I usually will suggest starting at a minute and working your way up from there, adding time as you're more comfortable with the practice. So I am going to pass it over to Kathy.
Thank you, Alexis. And what we're presenting are breathing exercises with no contraindications for most people. That way we feel safer teaching them online in case we haven't met the students we're working with. So I'm going to teach the Ujjayi. And the Ujjayi is a warming breath. It increases circulation. It works really well for the symptoms of Raynaud's, which most people with scleroderma have, and many of us without scleroderma have. And it is excellent for muscle relaxation. Now, Ujjayi, when we teach it in person, a lot of times we can just ask people to listen and describe it briefly. Because we are teaching it online, I'm going to present some different teaching techniques. These are all the same breath, just different techniques to get them across to our students. So first, what we're doing, you're going to shift your soft palate to the back of your throat and move your epiglottis, which is the little flap that decides what pipe stuff goes down, to the center. So what you're doing is you're opening up both airways, the oro and the pharyngeal airway. So your throat is more open, it's wider, moving more oxygen. So vocalists and horn players all just moved their throat into position because they know where all of that is. For the rest of us, here's a few ways to learn it, even if you can't hear because we're over Zoom. Inhale through your nose and mouth at the same time. Your throat is now in the right position. So maybe exhale that way, nose and mouth at the same time. Now close your lips, leave your throat exactly the same, and inhale. It's another way to reach the Ujjayi breath. Another way, exhale and whisper. So start saying ah, and then turn it into a whisper. Ah. Your throat's in the right position. Close your lips and breathe. So, ah. And you're breathing in the Ujjayi. This next method was developed by Lindsay Slocum. It is excellent for people who have difficulty controlling muscle, maybe some paralysis, spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury. So what you're going to do is place your body in a position that will cause your throat to be in the right place. So you lie down on an inclined plane, so blankets or pillows so that you're not lying flat. We don't lie flat in scleroderma because of GERD. Then you let the tip of your tongue rest just below your bottom teeth on the front of your jaw. So my tongue is just below my bottom teeth. Then you relax. You're lying down. Your soft palate gravity will move it to the back of your throat, and you'll be breathing in the Ujjayi, even if you don't have good control over your throat muscles. Now, those are our preferred methods of teaching it. I have two more. These are only as the last resort. When we are teaching, we are always trying to get our students to focus within, to focus on their bodies, to focus internally. And these two both involve an outer image. But if you really feel it's important to your student to be able to use the Ujjayi, and none of these other methods have worked for them to learn it, then you might suggest that they fog a mirror. So pretend this is a mirror and you're going to fog it up. Your throat's in the right position. Close your lips and breathe. Our last method is really a last resort. Pretend you're Darth Vader. These are all ways to teach the Ujjayi breath. Usually one will work for someone, but this gives you a broad spectrum. So when you're trying to teach people who maybe are watching you online, they can't see you, they can't hear you, you can still teach them the Ujjayi breath. And now I'm going to turn it over to Pat.
Thanks, Kathy. So what I'm going to talk about is Pramari, the bee breath. And we use it in scleroderma because it helps increase salivation and indigestion. So it's very easy to do. So as we say, we exhale completely take it, and then inhale will have come naturally. And then as you exhale with your mouth closed, you hum. Again. So it's suggested to do it like 5 to 10 minutes a day, but I find that by doing it just a couple minutes, it's very helpful. You can do it anywhere. I actually do it sitting in the car when I'm sitting in traffic, at traffic lights, and then, or just sometimes walking around the house and just humming is also a good thing. So it's kind of what I have to say. Thank you, and now I'm going to turn it back over to Lori.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, everyone, for getting us started. The next thing that we've discovered works really great to offer our community when we can't get together is online guided relaxations, breathwork, and meditations. We started this last year with Kathy's suggestion of doing it once a month, and then it turned into once a week, and now it's twice on Wednesdays, and it's turned into a podcast. So this really is something that people enjoy and seems to be really, really helpful. So for me, as I ended up being the one that leads them all, not plan this, but it turned out that way. So for openings, I give all of the options for getting comfortable. They don't have to be in any specific position because we never know what our bodies are going to feel like on any given day. So I offer them seated on the floor or, on a chair. They can be lying down. We even offer walking as an option to participate on our guided relaxations and meditations. And so that's really the biggest part in learning to make the pauses long enough. For me, my meditations are all about relaxing and reducing stress. If Kathy leads, she does a lot more breath work and guided work for them to do. Mine are more passive. They lay, they relax. I put pretty long pauses between me speaking so that they can find silence in their mind, hopefully. And pauses are typically, they start out small, 30 seconds up to a minute. And then by the middle, I'm pausing 2 to 3 minutes. And then of course I shorten them again before we end. And then closings, I always ask them to give themselves gratitude for taking the time to meditate and take care of their bodies, and then to use their current feelings of kindness and relaxation to take care of themselves as they go back into their day, and to treat their families and friends with kindness and allow that love and good energy to spread out to the rest of the world. So that's our biggest outreach project right now, is online guided meditations and breath work in the podcast. So that's where we're at for that. And then I believe Cheryl is up next for teaching online.
Thank you, Lori. So right now, I don't actually want anyone with scleroderma in this space. There's children in and out of here. There's adults in and out of here that work at the hospital. There's too much exposure risk. So if I get someone with scleroderma, it is online and online only. My bubble is too big, and it's really just not safe for the immunocompromised population. But the bonus of that is I can see anybody from all over the planet, right? And just like we were at this conference today. So the biggest thing, please use some common sense. We're not going to do poses that are completely crazy or insane. You've heard all the breath work and all the things that are beneficial for people with scleroderma, so keep it at that. Yes, we're going to move a little bit, but it doesn't have to be anything, move the spine. We've heard that yesterday, right? We're going to move the spine in all directions. We're going to do it gently. If Renata's done some amazing classes, if you haven't been to any of them, please go back and watch the recording, and so that you feel how to do that step by step by step, and you can start to see those little changes that the body starts to compensate in any way. So if you're going to bend to the side and you see somebody's hips lift, they've gone too far. Simple things like that go back, do the recording, especially the class you just taught. Is a perfect example of how to go step by step, feel it in yourself first. Isn't that what we're all taught in yoga for the special? We have to feel it first before we can pass it on to somebody else. So that's what I want you to do, is to feel it first and then take it to somebody else. And so you've got to really get the connection, still has to be there regardless if it's online or not. You have to know that physical body, and you have to communicate well, because like Lori said, every day is a different day, and every day is a different day for us too. But in the Scleroderma community, balance can be affected. So standing on one leg with their eyes closed is probably not the safest option. If they're saying, I'm feeling off center today, my balance is a little off, you're going to do a lot more grounding type work. But you have to be able to communicate those things and know the person that's in front of you. So like, how are you feeling today? Is there any pain? How's your balance? How are you moving around? Were you really stiff when you got out of bed this morning? Just those few things can let you in as to how that body is going to move. And you want to have the just right challenge as well. It's not, there's that balance. And once again, you have to feel it within your own body. The thing with scleroderma is it's an autoimmune condition that likes to deposit collagen in smooth muscle. So if they're in a flare, and maybe Lexus or Lori can speak more to this, but if they're in some kind of flare, everything's inflamed, the movement is not, they need to move. If you don't use it, you lose it, but it needs to be modified in a way that's safe. If anybody else wants to jump in, I mean, I could talk about the contraindications for hours, and that's not what we're going to do this morning. So if Lori or Alexis wants to jump in and kind of explain what their body feels like, that would be great.
Alexis, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. I know for me, oftentimes it feels like really, really deep muscle pain. But then there's the added intensity of joint pain and stiffness. So on my best day, I'm up and running around and doing all of those things. And on, harder days, I'm barely moving around. I'm doing just enough stretches or yoga to be able to get up and move around. So if that gives you any idea, a lot of times I do modify by doing things seated in my bed or seated on the side of my couch, because I'm just not going to bend all the way over. My GERD may be incredibly bad, but also, just that joint pain and muscle pain, it may be easier for me to do all the stretches seated versus standing that day. Lori, do you have anything to add?
And I'm going to piggyback on that. Alexis described the muscle and joint issues to a T. Prior to me starting yoga, before, when my body was really bad, on really bad days, getting out of bed was just a challenge. Everything hurt. On top of that, something we haven't discussed is that some patients with scleroderma will have skin involvement. So the skin, typically on their arms, sometimes their torso and legs, but mostly if they're affected, it's going to be on their arms and their hands. And the skin can get so tight that it's shiny and the hair will all fall off. It will curl the hands. And at one point, my arms were locked in a 90-degree position like this because my skin was just so tight. So then you can't straighten your arms, you can't lift them very high. So those are just some of the complications, but moving is definitely something that you need to do, because Cheryl pointed out, if you don't move it, you lose it. And then that just complicates problems even more. Kathy, did I miss anything? Pat?
I think for me, it was actually, I actually lost my range of motion. And like you're saying is that you lose it. So when I was first diagnosed, I was actually doing much more. And then I stopped moving, what have you. And then I saw that I actually lost my range of motion, which is what I'm currently working on right now to improve it as well.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you for the input, everyone. And then with teaching online, we also have, the technical aspect. If you're teaching one-on-one, you don't necessarily need to have a crew. But if you're teaching more than one or having a quote unquote class, it's good to have a technical crew. Like Kathy's always available for us to run things in the background, make sure that our lighting looks good and that our sound is good and that we're, we can be seen so that what we're teaching is appropriate for the person on the other end. I think that that's really all that we have for technical stuff. We've all pretty much got that figured out by now. We're a year and a half into this, so I think most everyone knows how to teach or get set up to teach online mostly. I think next we have Alexis, who's going to talk to us about teaching kids.
Thank you. Okay, so with the pandemic and being pregnant all year last year, I was forced to teach from home, and all my kids were at the hospital on the unit. So that created another challenge. How do I teach them appropriately? How do I see their whole body so I know what motions they're going through, if they're following directions appropriately? The good thing that was helpful for me was that when the kids were on the unit and I was teaching them, I had somebody like a therapist in the room, so they could really help me in making sure my kids were moving safely. But when it came to teaching the kids online from their homes, that created more of a challenge. We would try and get set up to where I could see their whole body, but it never failed. Most of the time, I could hardly see any of their body. So I really adjusted to teaching more of the relaxation and the things. We would do some gentle stretches, lying down or seated ones that I was confident that they wouldn't be able to get hurt in, or they wouldn't move too far into. So, and then if we could adjust to where I could see more of them, then we would do that. But if not, we would just focus on relaxation, breath work, and those safer, gentle seated poses. So otherwise, if they're in a group setting and you have someone else in that location that can help as like a maybe like a safety assistant, that's awesome. But if not, and the kid is at home, if you're not able to see all of their body, I just, like I said, all relaxation type stuff. And then I think we are moving back to Kathy on teaching in-person classes.
Thank you, Alexis. So the first thing I'm going to do is talk about the science behind why we are so careful. And in the resources, you'll find a nice big long list. And what it has is the peer-reviewed research behind the protocols that we have in place for our in-person classes. So the first thing is the danger. And I'm going to use the following language. So immunocompetent is someone with a typical immune system. It responds to the vaccine. It shows up to fight COVID. Immunocompromised means someone has a condition or some reason why their immune system does not respond robustly either to an infection or to a vaccine. Immunosuppressed is someone who is taking medications that deliberately suppress the immune system response, which would be both to COVID and also to the vaccine. People who are immunocompromised have a less robust response. So even though they go get the shots, the vaccine is not as effective for them. People who are immunosuppressed, taking drugs that are actually suppressing the immune system, will have about half of them, 2 weeks after their second shot, have no antibodies. As far as we know, they have no protection from their vaccine. There may be some, but even if they've had the shots, if they are immunosuppressed, if they're taking immune suppressing drugs, you have to assume they're not vaccinated. Then the effectiveness in people who are both immunocompromised and immunosuppressed can be increased by a third or second shot, depending on their vaccine. And that was approved by both here in the US, by both the FDA and the CDC in mid-August. So here, those are the people who are actually getting what they're calling a booster, in hopes that it'll bring them up to the amount of protection those of us with typical immune systems got from our original vaccine. Now, we don't want to be COVID cootie carriers. Even if we are vaccinated, we have a 25 to 35% chance of catching COVID and having either an asymptomatic or a very mild case. It can be so mild, we might not even know we have it. So we act like we have it. And Delta, the new variant, is 2 to 3 times more contagious. And so it is easier to catch and easier to spread. And a lot of people were getting a first dose, and under the original variant, someone who'd had the first dose of a vaccine was about 80% protected. With the Delta, that's 30%. So the protection doesn't really hit until 2 weeks after the second shot with the Delta variant. So keep all of that in mind. And then on the handout, I've also included some studies on mask effectiveness. Now, back at the beginning, when we were all wearing bandanas tied over our faces, they were saying that a mask would protect the wearer about 30%. Well, now we have better masks. So if you are wearing an N95, which we all used to buy in the painters section, but it screens out the particles, the wearer is protected between 80 and 90%. If you are wearing a cloth mask over one of those little procedure masks or an N95, you're getting up to 85% protection. And that is the reason why everyone wears masks in all our in-person classes. Doesn't matter what your vaccination status is, doesn't matter where we are outdoors, we are distanced physically by between 6 and 10 feet, and we're all wearing masks. And now I am going to show you our in-person classes. Now we offer our in-person classes with a Zoom backup or phone check-in, just in case. And the first thing we have is outdoor classes. So my outdoor class has a sanitation station. You see, I just have this little tub and I just haul it out. It has hand sanitizer, it has wipes, it has tissue, paper towels, and individually bottled water. I never did single-use products until COVID, but it's safe. I have a dedicated restroom. I am fortunate enough that I have 2 restrooms in my home, and so the downstairs one, where people could access from my outdoor back deck, has a HEPA air purifier. It has the handy wipes, the hand sanitizer. The air purifier is running. People are welcome to use it. After somebody has used it, I leave it closed for 24 hours before I clean it, and I never personally use it. So people know they are not potentially spreading something to me, and I am not potentially spreading something to them. This is our winter outdoor class. It's in my vegetable garden. We wear masks. We are distanced. It's in the afternoon because it's warmer, and we all dress like we're going snowshoeing. This is our summer outdoor class. This is on my deck. It is in the morning now because it's in the shade, so it's cooler. We're all wearing masks. We're all distanced. And I'd also like to thank Pat for taking all these pictures. She is our photographer. And I know everybody's looking at it going, oh, it's so quiet, it's so peaceful. No, it's not. See that? That's a train. In between the train and my grapes in the background is a freeway. It's not quiet. When the engine goes by, we all just stop. And then we resume because you can't hear anything. In June 1 here in Washoe County, Nevada, we started reopening and the yoga center reopened and we returned to in-person classes. Our classes are all mask required for everyone, and we had signs on the door that we serve the immunocompromised community and we all wear masks. At the yoga center, each teacher was able to set their own standards. So some teachers followed the CDC masking guidelines. Some teachers required vaccination to attend an in-person class. And in our case, masks required for everyone. At this point in our county, masks are now required indoors for everyone, regardless of vaccination status. Also, I only taught private. So only private, only masks. We were distanced. We had a very large air purifier in the yoga center, both doors open, and there was an hour between every class so that the air purifier had a chance to completely clean out the air. There's the air purifier over here. And once again, it's not quiet. That is a busy alley behind restaurants that have outdoor dining now, and garbage trucks, beer trucks, food delivery trucks, motorcycles, mopeds, kids on skateboards. Outdoors is safe. It's not quiet. And since that, sorry. Our county is having a big Delta surge right now. We are more vaccinated than the general population in the United States. 67% of our adults are vaccinated, and we are having a big surge. 2% of our population has a case of COVID right now. So we're back to outdoors. We are only having our in-person classes. We're still having them. We're only having them outdoors, only private. And it's getting cold here, so we dress warm. If we have bad weather, we have a Zoom backup. And since I teach people regularly, I am comfortable doing more extensive classes on Zoom because we see each other in person all the time. So I encourage you to teach. I encourage you to think about it and pay attention to where you are. How are things where you are now? And that's how you decide. And now I'm going to pass it back over to Pat for Rest and Digest.
It's Kathy. So what I'd like to talk to you about is part of my scleroderma. I have GERD, or gastroesophageal reflux disease, aka acid reflux. Anyway, what I want to do is something that I was working with Kathy because of my digestive issues as well. Is called constructive rest. And I'm going to ask Lori excuse me, not Lori, Alexis, to actually demonstrate. So if you could pin Alexis, that would be fine. So because of our GERD, we need an inclined plane because we don't want the acid to be going up to our stomach. So in the inclined plane, it could be made with pillows, it could be made with blankets, but just something so that your head is above at an elevation. So as Alexis is demonstrating right now. So what I like to do then is to lie down, let her kind of get comfy, and then create it so you're laying on your back. Now I would like you to bend your knees and put them about hip distance away from your body, but at a hip distance width, about a comfortable distance away from your body. So feel comfortable. Not too close, not too far, just a nice distance. And then put your knees together. So this is helping you to relax. So the next thing is I would like you then to put for your hands, where would be a good place to put. So what I normally have been doing is I would put one hand on my chest, one hand on my abdomen, or sometimes I put them one on top of each other on my abdomen, or put them side by side. So whatever is what's comfortable for you, and you can experiment. So we'll start with, I would try abdomen and chest. The next would be to relax. So I would like you to relax your chest, your shoulders, and your jaw. Then for breathing, I would suggest Bomari, which we just talked about, the humming breath, or full diaphragmatic breath. I've done both to help relax. So you can do this. So let's do a couple Bomaris. So exhale, now inhale, and now as you exhale, hum. Again. So that's the easy thing. You can do it. So it recommends like 5-10 minutes, but I try to do it twice a day. I do it first thing in the morning when I wake up, and then I do it at night before I go to bed. And I'm finding it's actually been very helpful in my digestive issues. So I think with that, that's what I do. And I'm finding it to be extremely helpful. I will now turn it back over to Lori. Get your help.
Thank you, Pat and Alexis, for demonstrating. So now we're going to do a guided relaxation, and I'm going to piggyback that off of what Pat just did. And it's actually our rest and digest. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera, which is what we typically do for our relaxations, so that everyone's not focused on what's going on the screen and they're really just relaxing. So since we're doing rest and digest, we're going to want to, for our comfortable position, today we're going to want to either be lying down or seated in a position that you can kind of recline in. So once you've decided on where you're going to be, if you're lying down, bend your knees, put your feet a little wider than your hips, and let your knees rest against each other. This is constructive rest. And here your hips, your belly, and your low back are all able to relax. If you're seated in a chair, scoot back so your low back is supported by the back of the chair. Bend your knees, lean back, and relax. Feel your hips, belly, and your low back release. And just really start to settle into this position. And let's find a little more comfort in the body. Release the tension in your shoulders. Let them relax. and drop away from your ears. Relax and soften your brow. Unclench your jaw. Let your tongue soften and relax. Drop away from the roof of your mouth. Let the tension in the muscles of your face fade away. And just breathe and relax. Bring your attention to your breath. Exhale completely. Relax. Allow your inhale to happen naturally. It will require no effort and no strain. Your lungs refill automatically because you emptied them when you exhaled. This is the full natural breath. Brings in oxygen to circulate through your body when you inhale. Then you exhale. Relax. And feel yourself inhale. This is the full natural breath that releases what you don't need anymore when you exhale. This breath does more than deliver oxygen. The rhythmic movement of your diaphragm massages your internal organs, helps release tight muscles and fascia throughout your belly. And this rhythmic breath and internal massage reduces the overstimulation of the vagus nerve, helps you reset your natural rest and digest cycle. And continue this breath. Exhale, relax. And the inhale comes naturally. As you relax, your breath will relax too, becoming smooth and even. If you like, you can place one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly, becoming more aware of the smooth, even rise and fall, becoming aware of that gentle inner massage. And just continue to exhale, relax, and inhale. Next, I invite you to add Brahmari, or the humming breath, to your exhale. Try humming while you complete the next exhale. Then relax. Let the inhale come naturally. Continue humming through the next exhales for a few more breath cycles. And this breath increases salivation and digestive enzymes. You may feel the vibration from your humming through your hands resting on your chest and belly. Again, all of this helps the body to rest, helps process the digestion. Now return to your normal breath. Just breathe. Just relax. Allow the body to settle into stillness. Allow the mind to find silence. And just breathe. Soon, it will be time to slowly bring your awareness back to your day. Take a brief pause before doing so. Allow yourself a minute to have gratitude for yourself, for making this time for yourself. Now allow your body and your mind to become more alert, more energetic, and more aware, while still feeling calm and relaxed. Take in the sounds and smells of the room around you. Feel your tongue in your mouth. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Rotate and flex your ankles and your wrists. Stretch your muscles as you become fully alert and aware. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Take in the sights of the room around you. And prepare to return to your day. And as you continue your day, I encourage you to allow your current feelings of calm and relaxation to carry you through with loving kindness. Loving kindness first for yourself, and then sharing that loving kindness with the ones you love and hold close. And then spreading that loving kindness to the world around you. May your day be peaceful and calm. May you be well. And thank you for joining our talk and our presentation. And I think that wraps it up for us. We have a panel tomorrow. Kathy can share some of our resources that we have, and I guess we'll open it up for question and answer.
I'd like to let you know that in the resources, along with the list of science, we also have all our free resources. So you can reach everything through our webpage, www.yogaforscleroderma.com. We have our podcast. Lori is up to, I think, 5,300 downloads. In addition, we put our podcasts up on our YouTube channel using photos. Pat McMillan has taken on all 7 continents. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We have 2 Zoom guided relaxations a week. One is at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays in India. The other one is at 6:30 p.m. US time on Wednesday. And all of these links are in our resources. And now it's open for questions.
I have a quick question about the alternate nostril breathing. I was very curious because Alexa said that sometimes it's hard to because of the hand. And Lori, I know your hands are like, how do you do it? I would like to see you doing to get a little feedback on how, when the hands are really compromised, how can we help them to do it?
It's really what's comfortable for them. So some people we have will do each hand because my wrists don't turn really well and I am limited. My right hand is not comfortable for me to do it with efficiently. So I use my left hand and I use my thumb for the left side. And sometimes I'll just use my thumb for the right side as well. Or I'll use I call them my nubbins, my nubbin that sticks out the most for the other side. So it's really just what's comfortable for them. It can be 2 hands, it can be whatever. If they, even if they had a stylus, because some people can't type really well, they might have a stylus they could use if they need to. It's just, you have to get really creative sometimes.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so very much, Lori, Pat, Alex, Cheryl, and especially Kathy for, preparing such a great team to work with you. I think you build up a perfect team to work with you. And I was having this pain here in my hand because I was asking the same question to Renata and was preparing to give you, if the person can hold the pen, to give you this option here. But you already had that, you see? The necessity makes the opportunities. So it is amazing work, and I am so glad that you found yoga to help as well. because yoga, as everybody knows, doesn't work just on the physical body, but to prepare you internally to face the challenges, which I could see that are hard, that's not easy, not easy. So I really, really am proud of you as well, you know, because I know that life for you sometimes can be very challenging, and you don't only face your own challenges, and that is the most important for me. You don't, you know, face your own challenges and trying to overcome them, but you share with the people how they can do that. So you are using a big challenge that life, the big challenge that life brought to you, and you are experiencing it and are share about your experience to others to overcome it. I believe, I truly believe this is the best, the biggest lesson in life. Huh? This is the biggest lesson in life. Learning how to share with the others. So thank you very much, because you are doing a great job about this. And Lori, I loved your relaxation. I was here completely relaxed. Loved your voice, and ooh, I was like, oh my God, this was very good, because since 4:30 in the morning, I am out, I am woke, so it was very nice to have that talk. Thank you so much, so very much, and please, please keep on spreading yoga to other people and helping them. That's amazing. That was an amazing job.
Thank you, Shivakami. And
Thank you very much.
I wanted to point out, this is the Sonia Sumar method. And I started applying it back in 2002. Shivakami reviewed the script for the first video that we made in 2003. She saw it before we published it. She saw all the video in 2010 before we published it. And so my research paper for the 200-hour was yoga for scleroderma. And that is when Shivakami took me aside and said, this is your work.
You know what? Because I always observe a lot my students, people that I am working with, you know, to choose some to make a team as well, to choose my own team. And by that time, before Kath showed me all that material, I was vislumbrating that idea of inviting her and to prepare her, because yoga for the special child was growing so much, and I was feeling the need of clones, to have clones. So, and then before I invited her, she came with all those materials, and I could see her passion. I could see, I told her, this is your life. And then she told me, I would like to teach yoga for the special child as well. I said, well, let's see, because this is your life. Follow this path first, and let's see. Remember, so follow this and let's see what happens. Thank God I didn't tell her, oh yes, come to yoga for that special child. Forget it's Scleroderma, and see how it, I could see it, how this work could grow like it is nowadays. Yeah. I would like to ask a question, a last question. How common is scleroderma? Lori.
I'm sorry.
How common is scleroderma?
How common?
Yeah.
It's the last numbers published are old, so they often say 300,000 people in the United States, but those numbers came out when I was diagnosed in 2002. So I have to believe that the numbers are higher than that. I would guess that we have to be between that 300,000 number and 500,000 people in the US. Alexis, Pat, do you guys have more updated numbers?
No, what I'm looking
No.
at online is even less than that, which doesn't make any sense.
No, again, they
No.
haven't updated those numbers. Those numbers are way outdated. So by my guess, in the US alone, we have to be at least 500,000 by now.
Well, you have to prepare a little more team, but for a while you can handle it. You and your team can handle it. Huh? So keep
Well,
on
Kathy is
spreading.
building our team.
Yeah,
Yes.
say again.
I said, Kathy is building our team. We keep adding
Yeah,
people all over the
so
place.
you can handle it. Let's handle it. Let's take care of all this population. And let's see if you can find a natural way to overcome, because everything is possible. Everything is possible in the world. Huh? So I didn't say everything is easy. I never said that. I never said that. To live here in this world is already a challenge, especially with this kind of missions you came. You chose that. Okay, I'm going to develop this so that I can help others that probably has as well. I don't know. So everything is possible. That's what I said. It's difficult, but it's possible. So may Divine Mother, may Guru protect you all. We are in Navaratri, so all the power, may all the power go to you. You are all Divine Mothers. Om Shanti Om.
Thank you so much. I know we could be here forever, but the people for the next panel are already here, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to kick everyone out. So I apologize.